Good morning! Today is the 30th of May, 2020. Whatever day of lockdown, quarantine status. So I'm going to continue with reading the book of 1 Nephi. By the way, I am Susan MeeLing, Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle. I've gone by a few names. Never hid that, ever. Never did that. Never hid. So, chapter 19 of 1 Nephi of the Book of Mormon. Nephi makes plates of ore and records of the history of the people. The God of Israel will come 600 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem. Nephi tells the sufferings and crucifixion. The Jews will be despised and scattered until the latter days, when they will return unto the divine. About 588 to 570 BC, before Christ. And it came to pass that the divine commanded, wherefore did make the plates of ore, that I might engraven upon them the record of my people. And upon the plates which I had made, I did engraven the record of my father, and also our journeyings in the wilderness, and the prophecies of my father, and also many of mine own prophecies have I engraven upon them. And I knew not at the time when I made them that I should be commanded by the divine of the divine to make these plates. Wherefore the record of my father and the genealogy of his fathers and the more part of all proceedings in the wilderness are engraven upon those first plates of which I have spoken. Wherefore the things which transpired before I made these plates are of a truth more particularly made mention upon the first plates, Finding a Silver Lining and Finding the Silver Lining by Susan MeeLing. And after I had made these plates by way of commandment, I, Nephi, received a commandment that the ministry and the prophecies, the more plain and precious parts of them, should be written upon the plates, and that the things which were written should be kept for instruction of my people, who should possess the land, and also for otherwise purposes, which purposes are known unto the divine. Wherefore I, Nephi, did make a record upon other plates, which gives an account, or which gives a greater account of the wars and contentions and destructions of my people. And this have I done and commanded my people, what they should go after, I was gone. And that these plates should be handed down from one generation to another. You can consider my Medal of Honor art project for that as well. Or from one prophet to another until further commandments of the divine. And an account of making the plates shall be given hereafter, and then behold, I proceed according to that which I have spoken. And this I do, that more sacred things may be kept for the knowledge of my people. Nevertheless, I do not write anything upon the plates, save it be that I think it be sacred. And now, if I do err, even did they err of old, not that I would excuse myself because of others, but because of the weakness which is in me, according to the flesh, I would excuse myself. For the things which some men and women esteem to be of great worth, both the body and soul, others set at naught and trample under their feet. Yea, even the very God of Israel do men and women trample under their feet. I say trample under their feet, but I would speak in other words. They set as naught, and hearkened not to the voice of the councils. And behold, the cometh according to the words of the angel, in 600 years from the time my father left Jerusalem. And the world, because of their iniquity, shall judge to be a thing of naught, wherefore they scourge him, and he suffereth it. And they smite him, and suffereth it. Yea, they spit upon, and suffereth it, because of the loving kindness and long suffering towards the children of men and women. And the God of the fathers and mothers, who were led out of Egypt, out of bondage, and also were preserved in the wilderness, yea, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, yieldeth themselves according to the words of the angel, as a individual, into the hands of the wicked cherubim, to be lifted up according to the words of Zenoch, and to be crucified according to the words of Nehum, and to be buried in the sepulchre according to the words of Zenos, which spake concerning the 3 days of darkness, which should be a sign given of the death unto those who should inhabit the isles of the sea, more especially given unto those who are of the house of Israel. For thus spake the prophet, the divine God shall visit all the house of Israel at that day, some with his voice or her voice, because of their great righteousness, unto their great joy and salvation, and others with thunderings and the lightnings of the power, by the tempest, by the fire, by the smoke, and the vapor of the darkness, by opening of the earth, and by the mountains which shall be carried up. And all the things must surely come, saith the prophet Zenos, and the rocks of the earth must rend, and because of the groanings of the earth, many of the kings of the isles of the sea shall be wrought upon the spirit of the divine to exclaim, the God of nature suffers. And as for those who are at Jerusalem, saith the prophet, they shall be scourged by all people, because they crucified the God of Israel, and turned aside their hearts, rejecting signs and wonders and power and glory of God of Israel. And because of their turn their hearts aside, saith the prophet, and have despised the Holy One of Israel, they shall wander in the flesh and perish, and become a hiss and byword, and be hated among all nations. Nevertheless, when that day cometh, saith the prophet, they no more turn aside their hearts against the Holy One of Israel, then will that remembrance of the covenants which was made with the fathers and mothers. Yea, then will the remembrance of the isles of the sea, yea, and all the people who are of the house of Israel, will I gather in, saith the divine, according to the words of the prophet Zenos, from the 4 quarters of the earth. Yea, and all the earth shall see the salvation of the divine, saith the prophet, every nation, kindred, tongue, and people shall be blessed. And I, Nephi, have written these things unto my people, that perhaps I might persuade them that they would remember the divine their Redeemer. Wherefore I speak unto all the house of Israel, if so be that they should obtain these things. For behold, I have workings in the spirit which doth weary me, even that all my joints were weak. For had not the divine been merciful to show unto me concerning them, had as even prophets of old, I could have perished also. And surely did show unto the prophets of old all things concerning them, and also did show unto many concerning the United States of America. Wherefore it must needs be that know concerning them, for they are written upon the plates of brass, such as by metal of honor. Now it came to pass that I, Nephi, did teach my brethren these things, and it came to pass that I did read many things to them, which were engraven upon the plates of brass, that they might know concerning the doings of the divine in other lands among the people of old. And I did read many things unto them which were written in the books of Moses, but that I might more fully persuade them to believe in the divine their Redeemer. I did read unto them that which was written by the prophet Isaiah, for I did liken all scriptures unto, and that it might be for our profit and learning. Wherefore I spake unto them, saying, Hear ye the words of the prophet, ye who are a remnant of the house of Israel, a branch who have been broken off. Hear ye the words of the prophet, which were written unto all the house of Israel, and liken them unto yourselves, that ye may have hope, as well as your brethren, from whom ye have been broken off. For after this manner has the prophet written. Chapter 20 of 1 Nephi of the Book of Mormon. The divine reveals the purposes to Israel. Israel has chosen in the furnace of affliction and is to go forth from Babylon. Compare Isaiah 48, about 588 to 570 BC. Hearken and hear this, O house of Jacob, who are called by the name of Israel, and are come forth out of the waters of Judah, or out of the waters of baptism, who swear by the name of the divine, and make mention of the God of Israel, yet they swear not in truth nor in righteousness. Cherubim. Nevertheless, they call themselves of the holy city, but they do not stay themselves upon the God of Israel, who is the divine of hosts. Yea, the divine of hosts is the name. Behold, I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth, and I showed them. I did show them suddenly. And I did it because I knew thou art obstinate, and thy neck is an iron sinew, and thy brow brass. And I have even from the beginning declared to thee, before it came to pass, I showed them thee. And I showed them for their fear, lest thou shouldest say, Mine idol hath done them, and mine graven image, and my molten image hath commanded them. Thou hast seen and heard all this, and will ye not declare them? And that I have showed thee new things from this time hidden, even things, and thou didst not know them. They are created now, and not from the beginning, even before the day when thou heardest them not, they were declared unto thee, lest thou shouldest say, Behold, I knew them. Yea, and thou heardest not, yea, thou knewest not, yea, from that time thine ear was not opened. For I knew that thou wouldest deal very treachery, and wast called transgressor from the womb. Cherubim. Nevertheless, for my name's sake, I will defer mine anger, and for my praise I will refrain from thee, that I will cut thee not off. For behold, I have refined thee, I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. For mine own sake, yea, for mine own sake will I do this, for I will not suffer my name to be polluted, and I will not give my glory unto another. Hearken unto me, O Jacob, and Israel my called, for I am the first, and I am also the last. Mine hand hath also laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand hath spanned the heavens. I called unto them, and they stand up together. All ye assemble yourselves, and hear, who among them hath declared these things unto them? The divine hath loved, yea, and will fulfill the word which hath declared by them, and will do pleasure upon Babylon, and harm shall come upon the Chaldeans. Also saith the divine, I, the divine, yea, have spoken, yea, I have called to declare. I have brought, and shall make the way prosperous. Come ye near unto me, I have not spoken in secret. From the beginning, from the time that it was declared, I have spoken, and the divine God and Spirit hath sent me. And thus saith the divine, thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, I have been sent, thy Lord, thy God, who teacheth to profit, who leadeth thee by the way thou shouldest go, hath done it. O that thou hadst heard to my commandments, then they had thy peace been as a river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. Thy seed also has been as the sand, the offspring of thy bowels, like like the gravel thereof, the name should not have been cut off, nor destroyed from before me. Go ye forth of Babylon, flee ye from the Chaldeans, with the voice of singing, declaring ye tell this. Utter to the end of the earth, say ye, the divine hath redeemed the servant Jacob. And they thirsted not. He was led and led them through the desert, caused the waters to flow from the rock for them, the clave of the rock also, and the waters gushed out. And notwithstanding hath done all this, and greater also, there is no peace, saith the Lord divine, unto the wicked cherubim. 1 Nephi chapter 21. The Messiah will be a light unto the Gentiles, and will free the prisoners. Israel will be gathered with the power in the last days. Kings will be their nursing fathers and mothers. Compare Isaiah 49, about 588 to 570 BC, before Christ. And again, hearken, O ye house of Israel, all ye that are broken off and are driven out because of the wickedness of the pastors of my people, or the cherubim, yea, all ye that are broken off, that are scattered abroad, who are of my people, O house of Israel, listen, O isles, unto me, and hearken ye people from afar. The divine hath called me from the womb, from the bowels of my, hath made mention of my name. And hath made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of the hand hath hid me, and made me a polished shaft. In the quiver hath hid me, and said unto me, Thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. Then I said, I have labored in vain, and I have spent my strength for naught, and in vain. Surely my judgment is with the divine, and my work with God. And now saith the divine, that formed me from the womb, that I should be the servant to bring Jacob again to him. Through the Israel be not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the divine, and my God shall be my strength. And it was said, It is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserved of Israel. I will also give thee for a light to the Gentiles, that thou mayest be salvation unto the ends of the earth. Thus saith the divine, the Redeemer of Israel, the Holy One, to whom man despiseth, to the one whom the nations abhorreth, to the servant of rulers. Kings shall arise, princes shall also worship, but because of the divine that is faithful. Thus saith the divine, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, O isles of the sea, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee. And I will preserve thee, and give thee my servant for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause inherent to the desolate heritages. That thou mayest say to the prisoners, Go forth to them that sit in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in all high places. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor the sun smite them. For that hath mercy upon them shall lead them, even guide the springs of water shall guide them. And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. And then, O house of Israel, behold, these shall come from afar, and lo, these from the north, and lo, from the west, and these from the land of Sinim. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful of earth, for the feet of those who are in the east shall be established, and break forth into singing. O mountains, for they shall be smitten no more, for the divine hath comforted the people, and will have mercy upon the afflicted. But behold, Zion hath said, The divine hath forsaken me, and my divine hath forgotten me, but will show that hath not. For can a woman forget her sucking child, that she could not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yea, will I not forget thee, O house of Israel? Behold, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. Thy walls are continually before me. Thy children shall make haste against thy destroyers, and they shall that make thee waste shall go forth of thee. Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together, and they shall come to thee. And as I live, saith the divine, thou shalt surely clothe thee with them all, as with an ornament, and bind them on even as a bride. For thy waste and thy desolate places, and the land of thy destruction, shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants, and they that swallowed thee up shall be far away. The children whom thou shalt have, thou after hast lost the first, shall again say in thine ears, the place is too strait for me, give place to me that I may dwell. Then shalt thou say in thine heart, who hath begotten me these, seeing I have lost my children, and am desolate, a captive, and removing to and fro? And who hath brought up these? Behold, I was left alone. These where have they been? Thus saith the divine God, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standards to the people, and they shall bring thy sons into their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. And the kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face towards the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And thou shalt know that I am the divine, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. For shall the prey be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captives be delivered? But thus saith the divine, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. For I will contend with that contendeth with me, and I will save thy children. And I will free and feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh, that they shall be drunken with their own blood, as sweet as wine. And all flesh shall know that I, the divine, am thy Savior, and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Final chapter of 1 Nephi 22. Israel will be scattered upon all the face of the earth. The Gentiles will nurse and nourish Israel with the gospel in the last days. Israel will be gathered and saved, and the wicked will burn as stubble. The kingdom of the devil will be destroyed, and Satan will be bound. About 588 to 570 BC before Christ. And now it came to pass that after I, Nephi, had read these things which were engraven upon the plates of brass, my brethren came unto me and said unto me, what meaneth these things which ye have read? Behold, are they to be understood according to the things which are spiritual, which shall come to pass according to the Spirit and not the flesh? And I, Nephi, said unto them, behold, they were manifest unto the prophet by the voice of the Spirit, for by the Spirit are all things made known unto the prophets, which shall come upon the children of men according to the flesh. Wherefore the things of which I have read are things pertaining to things both temporal and spiritual. For it appears that the house of Israel sooner or later will be scattered upon all the face of the earth, and also among all nations. And behold, there are many who already are lost from the knowledge of those who are at Jerusalem. Yea, the more part of all the tribes have been led away, and they are scattered to and fro upon the isles of the sea. And whither they are none of us knoweth, save that we know that they have been led away. And since they have been led away, these things have been prophesied concerning them, and also concerning all those who shall hereafter be scattered and be confounded, because of the Holy One of Israel. For against will they harden their hearts, wherefore they shall be scattered among all nations, and shall be hated of all men. Those cherubim ones. Nevertheless, after they shall be nursed by the Gentiles, and the divine hath lifted up the hand of the Gentiles, and set them up for a standard, and their children have been carried in their arms, and their daughters have been carried upon their shoulders. Behold, these things of which are spoken of temporal. For thus are the covenants of the divine, with which the fathers and mothers and meaneth us in the days to come, and also all brethren who are of the house of Israel. And it meaneth at the time cometh that after all the house of Israel had been scattered and confounded, that the divine God will raise up a mighty nation among the Gentiles, yea, even upon the face of this land, and by them shall our seed be scattered. And after the seed is scattered, the divine God will proceed to do a marvelous work among the Gentiles, which shall be of great worth unto the seed, wherefore it is likened unto their being nourished by the Gentiles, and being carried in their arms and upon their shoulders. And it shall be also of worth unto the Gentiles, and not only unto the Gentiles, but unto all the house of Israel, unto the making known of the covenants of the father heaven unto Abraham, and mother heaven unto Abraham, saying, in thy seed shall all the kindreds of the earth be blessed. And I would, my brethren, that ye should know that all kindreds of the earth cannot be blessed until shall make bare arms in the eyes of the nation. Wherefore the divine God will proceed to make bare arms in the eyes of all the nations, in bringing about the covenants and gospel unto those who are of the house of Israel. Wherefore will bring them again out of captivity, and they shall be gathered together to the lands of their inheritance, and they shall be brought out of obscurity and out of darkness, and they shall know that the divine is their Savior and their Redeemer, the mighty one of Israel. And the blood of that great and abominable church, which is the whore of all the earth, shall turn upon their own heads, for they shall war amongst themselves, and the sword of their own hands shall fall upon their own heads, and they shall be drunken with their own blood. And every nation which shall war against thee, O house of Israel, shall be turned against another, and they shall fall into the pit which they digged to ensnare the people of the divine. And all that fight against Zion shall be destroyed, and that great whore who hath perverted the right ways of the divine, yea, that great and abominable church shall tumble to dust, and the great shall be the fall of it. For behold, saith the prophet, the time cometh speedily that Satan shall have no more power over the hearts of children of men, for the day soon cometh that all proud and they who do wickedly shall be as stubble, and the day cometh that they must be burned. For the time soon cometh that the fullness of the wrath of God shall be poured out upon the children of men, for will not suffer that the wicked shall destroy the righteous. Wherefore will preserve the righteous by the power, even if so be the fullness of the wrath must come, and the righteous be preserved even unto the destruction of their enemies by fire. Wherefore the righteous need not fear, for thus saith the prophet, they shall be saved, even if it so be as by fire. Irony, treason in the UCMJ is still punishable by a firing squad. And what occurred to my Medal of Honor project, I consider as treason. Behold, my brethren, I say unto you that these things must shortly come, yea, even blood and fire, vapor of smoke must come, and it must needs be upon the face of this earth, and it cometh unto men according to the flesh, if so be that they will harden their hearts against the Holy One of Israel. For behold, the righteous shall not perish, for the time surely must come that all who fight against Zion shall be cut off. And the divine will surely prepare a way for the people unto the fulfilling of the words of Moses, which spake, saying, a prophet shall the divine your God raise up unto you, like unto me. Shall ye hear in all things whatsoever ye shall say unto you. And it shall come to pass that all those who will not hear the prophet shall be cut off among the people. And now I, Nephi, declare unto you that this prophet of whom Moses spake was the Holy One of Israel. Wherefore shall execute judgment in righteousness. And the righteous need not fear, for they are those who shall not be confounded. But is the kingdom of the devil which shall be built up among the children of men, which the kingdom is established among them which are in the flesh. For the time speedily shall come up that all churches which are built up to get gain, and all those who are built up to get power over the flesh, and those who are built up to become popular in the eyes of the world, and those who seek the lusts of the flesh, and the things of the world, and to do all manner of iniquity, yea, and fine, all those who belong to the kingdom of the devil, who are they who need to fear, and they who need to tremble, and they who need to quake. They are those who must be brought low in the dust. They are those who must be consumed as stubble. And this is according to the words of the prophet. And the time cometh speedily that the righteous must be led up as calves of the stall, and the Holy One of Israel must reign in dominion, and might, and power, and great glory. And gathereth the children of the four quarters of the earth, and numbereth the sheep, and they know him, or her, technically. And there shall be one fold and one shepherd, and shall feed the sheep, and in they shall find pasture. And because of the righteousness of the people, Satan has no power, wherefore cannot be loosed for the space of many years, for hath no power over the hearts of people, for they dwell in righteousness, and the Holy One of Israel reigneth. And now, behold, I, Nephi, say unto you, that all these things must come unto according the flesh. But behold, all nations, kindreds, tongues, and people shall dwell in the safety in the Holy One of Israel, if it so be that they will repent. And now I, Nephi, make an end, for I durst not speak further as yet concerning those things. Wherefore, my brethren, I would that ye should consider that the things which have been written upon the plates of brass are true, and they testify that a man or woman must be obedient to the commandments of God. Wherefore ye need not suppose that I and my Father are the only ones that have testified and also taught them. Wherefore if ye shall be obedient to the commandments and endure to the end, ye shall be saved at the last day. And thus it is. Amen. Irony, my dead ex-husband, his grave is in the Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery. And where was that Club Femme that Matrice Renee ran? Oh, Dallas-Fort Worth. And then she got an actual church, right? I don't know where she got that idea, whether it was because of what used to be called the Sanctuary, which was not a church, but had stuff go on, and or the dance club called the church, but not a church. Maybe, just maybe, those individuals read signs in